Welcome guys, this is the third episode. Today will be the ladies panel. I'm gonna start have some of my friends introduce themselves to you and also their social media platform where you can reach them at.
Hi, I'm Corey B. Instagram is KOURY, V as Victor. All of my handles are the same. I'm produced in Texas, been here 6 years, and I'm here to hear what these ladies have to talk about today.
I'm Cherish. Everyone calls me Cherry. I'm a skater. My Instagram is Call Me Cherry 2. My Twitter is Call Me Cream 2. Follow me if you want to find out more.
My name is Lala. My Instagram is Beauty IV Ashes, and I don't have a whole bio, but
well, it's your girl Miss Shortcake, and my Instagram is MZSHORT, and it's with a K, Shortcake. And I really don't have a bio, but I'm a mom, an entrepreneur, making things happen.
I'm Pooh. My Instagram is Sweet Honey Kisses, SWTHUNNY. I am a friend and supporter, and I also work in the mental health field as well.
All right. Gonna ask a couple questions, ladies. Answer to the best of your abilities. First question is social media making natural beauty extinct? Yes, no, how, or why?
Making it a what?
Extinct. Come on, answer how you please. So, is social media making natural beauty extinct?
I feel like that's facts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that social media has made this unrealistic chase for perfection for people to the point where a lot of people are constantly comparing themselves or even going out to the extent to reach that perfect everything down to the smile even.
I kind of feel like it's not. I feel like it is in some ways, but I feel like it's not because you kind of have that balance of girls who are trying to fight that whole stigma of being perfect, and you're seeing a lot of things that were kind of like taboo, like, you know, plus size women wearing like exposing clothes and swimsuits and just like body positivity. So I feel like, yes, you know, if you want to tune in to like girls that are getting their bodies done and, you know, doing all these excessive things in order to make themselves appear beautiful, you could also tune into the lens of like women with body positivity and, you know, wearing their hair natural and like going for more organic products for their skin and their bodies, and, you know, just being pro-natural. Like, I feel like it's either way that you look at it, like just how you want to view the situation.
I feel like it kind of depends on your lane. So it depends on what's on your social media. You do have your naturalists, you do have your plus size people and everybody else, but then you also do have, I'll say even when it comes to celebrities, they kind of push forward the slim waist, big ass, big this, big that, and that's not everybody's real. That's not even how they look when the cameras go off. So I think it kind of just shows you who's in your circle and who's around, because that's not really how everybody looks when we go home and take our makeup off or anything like that. So I think people post, some people do consciously post to make themselves look good, and then there's certain people that post like, this is me, like I'm gonna have my story, I'm gonna have this. So I think it depends on who you follow and what lane you go in. Because I stay with people that natural hair, plus size, real.
Just going off of what you just said, I have that same belief. I agree. Social media is whatever you make it. You know, if you have that following where you see those standards of beauty out there, you can either go along with it or go and be a radical and be your natural self if you want to be. And it's just all up to the person. So it's a yes and a no for me. Like, it can be, but it also cannot be. Because me, myself, I see those standards and I'm not against it because people got to be happy at the end of the day. But for me, myself, personally, I'm happy natural. So, fuck your standards.
Okay. Next question. What is vulnerability? I can't say the word. Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
Vulnerability.
Okay, so what does
Vulnerability.
mean to you? How do you identify with it within yourself and then with others?
That's a loaded question.
It is.
Let's start with the beginning. What do you want to answer first? What is vulnerability?
So to you, what does vulnerability mean to you?
to me, vulnerability is showing up as yourself, whether that be, you know, displaying your strengths or your flaws. Personally, I believe vulnerability is strength. If you can, you know, show that you're good at X, Y, and Z, but you can also show up in your weaknesses or your failures, that's still vulnerability to me as well. I think a lot of people look at vulnerability as a sign of weakness. And that's, I'm kind of taking the question a little bit further than it has to, but I think a lot of people look at it as, you know, seeing someone as weak. And so a lot of people are very hesitant to show up as themselves for that reason, because of judgment or because of, you know, some shame that they have about whatever they may be dealing with. So one of my wishes is for a lot of people to see vulnerability as strength. It takes a lot of strength to sit like in a group like ours and say, like, you know, like we had a conversation with everyone last time, like, you know, someone was molested. It takes strength to tell strangers that you don't know that something that deep, dark has happened to you. So I wish we changed that perception, not only with as a people within humanity, but especially within our culture. I think that will definitely help us as a community. That's why.
Well, I agree with what you said 100%. I think it's definitely strength, because a lot of people are scared to come out with, to be vulnerable is scary, but it is a sign of strength, because you have to look at it as if you can be helping somebody else. I might be scared to come out and say, this, and this about me, but the next person's like, dang, like I would have never said that, and it makes them feel for their next time. And I feel like vulnerability is something that's super important. And people that wear their heart on their sleeve, you're being vulnerable because you're coming out saying how you feel, which is what you're supposed to do. But society makes you feel like, don't say that, be perfect, don't bring that out. People are going to talk about you, but it's like, it's my life, bro. This is what you want to talk about. So I think I'm all for vulnerability. Say what you got to say, because it'll help somebody internally, and it makes you feel better, like cleansed.
Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback off of what both of you guys are saying, because just working in mental health, as long as I've been working in mental health and seeing with that, the stigma that we have surrounding our culture just as Black people, we are afraid to be vulnerable. We are afraid to ask for help, and sometimes that's just shamed upon, and it's okay, because that's what therapy is about. It's getting in touch with your emotions and being able to be vulnerable and understand that you're in a situation that you may need help, or you may need to reach to somebody that does not know you, but also being comfortable to open up with that person that they're able to guide you to help you assist with things. So I feel like vulnerability, most importantly, is not just strength, not just more like a stigma more in the culture, but it's the understanding of knowing that you are human as well, and that you bleed, you breathe, and you go through emotions just like everybody else does.
Okay. All right. Next question. Have you ever been in a relationship where your partner's personas make you dumb your own to benefit the relationship?
Say that again.
Have you ever been in a relationship where your partner's persona makes you dumb down your own to benefit the relationship?
To be fit the relationship.
To befit the relationship.
I have not, but I've been in a position where the person wanted me to, without like directly saying it. Dating this guy, and he was just like, you know, supposed to be super ladies dude and whatever. He just really thought he was the shit. And behind all of his Instagram and all, like, he was a really good dude, but he had like maintained this image for so long. It was just like, oh, you know, I can't be vulnerable. I can't show, you know, that I actually am soft, and you know what I'm saying? Like, if this is the girl that I'm talking to, like, you gotta be cool with girls, you know, commenting and reposting me and doing all this other kind of stuff. And that's not something that I'm willing to do, because I feel like in a relationship, like, individuality is really important. And I'm not here to feed your ego, just like you're not here to feed my ego. Like, you're a grown man, I'm a grown ass woman. You know what I'm saying? So what it is that we have going on outside of each other, we can use those things to benefit our relationship as a whole. Like, I'm not here to be subservient to your persona, you know?
Everybody feel the same way?
I wouldn't say that I've dumbed myself down, but I can say that I have a history of being in relationships where I've always had a goal set for myself, and my partner may or may not have had that. So I can see the conflict in between me trying to pursue what I'm doing and the challenges he may have as a man, or maybe I just perceived it that way as a woman. You know, but I wouldn't say that I ever dumbed myself down in that way, but I can see me trying to do things to make him feel more secure, because he's trying to figure out things in his path of life and stuff like that. So I would say I'm guilty of that at least.
I would say that I've had that similar experience, but in a past relationship, my relationship was my identity, and that's where you really mess up, when you everything that you are, everything that you think of and you live and breathe, you know, it became, this person became like everything. Anytime somebody would ask me, how you doing, I would talk about my relationship when they are specifically asking about me. So, you know, I didn't necessarily dummy down. I just put a lot of who I am and my identity into a relationship, and that's really dangerous, because you can fall in an abyss. You can fall into a darkness living for somebody else and not really getting to know who you are and showing up as who you are. And so oftentimes I would show up as a person that I really didn't like, but because I knew he liked, you know, I displayed specific characteristics. So I didn't dummy down. I guess that is dummy down to me, but I did show up so that he would be impressed by me, so that he would love me and things of that nature. So
I would say I really haven't had an experience like that. It was more so of, I'm like a big package in a like personality when I come in, and I had an ex that he hated that. Like, you don't gotta talk to everybody when you come in the room. You need to be like, act like, and it's like, no, you know what you signed up for when we got together. That's how you know me. I do flirt, but it's not over the top where it's disrespectful. It's like, you're meeting everybody. Yeah, you come into a room, and I like to talk to people. You just never know who you might meet. But he used to try to be like, oh, you shouldn't do this. He was older, 10 years older than me. So he would try to come in and try to be a daddy. And it's like, look, this is what you signed up for. This is me. And you have to be so secure and strong in yourself to where it's like, I'm not going to be able to do it, bro. Like, I'm not going to change who I am, because that's going to make you fall in love with me. So either you're going to stick with it, or you could get lost.
Hello. The last thing you want to do is be in a relationship and completely lose yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking in the mirror and you don't even, who is this? You know?
Yeah.
And the dangerous part about it is you don't really see until you over and done with that situation. And then you're looking back and you're like, who the fuck is this person? Like, I don't remember how I was feeling. I don't know. You know, you can really see you're a whole different person then and now. So
I moved here based on that.
Yeah,
my last relationship, my ex-boyfriend was 8 years older than me, and oh my gosh, like, just like you said, it's like, I'm an outgoing person, like, I have a naturally flirty type of personality, like, people are like, you know, low-key attracted to me just because I like talking, I'm personable. Oh, he didn't like that, you know, the ridiculing and trying to minimalize, like, you know, your confidence. I went from being like outgoing, trying to pursue my modeling career, like not worried about getting married, wanting to be in a relationship, but not trying to get married and have kids. I'm in my early 20s, like really living my life. And like over the course of a year, like I felt like a grain of salt, you know, and everybody else saw it but me. But I was like, you know, it's like you have to break out of those types of chains. And that's why, you know, like now I'm in my 30s and I say, individuality is so important in relationships. Like, it is so important, especially for women. Like, you know, you'll find yourself not going after your goals, and your man is successful and he's doing this and he's treating you nice and doing all that, but like, if he didn't do that, then like, what kind of life would you have?
What do you have?
And I was gonna say that I feel like things that we all can be guilty of, where when we get so involved with our partner, we want to make sure they're secure, so everything turns around to making sure they good, they like that it becomes natural, where I didn't even notice until you said that, where I've been in relationships where people ask me how I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, well, this person did this, and they're like, I'm not even talking about me no more.
Right.
Who am I as a person, you know? So I feel like that's something we get lost into, but I feel like I didn't get that individuality until I got into my 30s. I went through a situation where I kept promising myself I don't want to deal with what I dealt with in my 20s and my 30s, and I see that myself becoming more of an individual now, how important it is. But then nobody would have been able to tell me that, because I just wanted to make sure I was a perfect girl for whoever I was with at the time. So.
Lord. So I think the answer is to handle that type of situation is, because you can't really see it coming, it just happens. The best thing you can do is identify with yourself, honestly, and stay in tune with yourself, and also have a partner who is encouraging you to be more in tune with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like that helps the situation more, because you know you love your partner. That's why you chose them. That's why you're there. So it's easy to get swept up, but if he's there and he's present, he sees you, and he cares for you, he gonna push you to be the bad bitch that you are.
Right.
That's what he wanted in the first place. If he wanted to keep her, you know he gotta keep her on her toes. So that's how you handle that one.
Yes, ma'am.
Pick the right partner.
Amen.
Amen.
You need to have a good support system.
Yes.
Your friends need to be real with you and not no hater type stuff. It's like, your friends know you. So listen to them, because they see you moving different, you acting different, and it's not like they can't. It's just like, girl, wait, shake me. Like I'm telling her now, shake me.
Mine shake me, and I still can get my ass up.
My mama, for me to see, my mama gotta come snatch me up. This is it.
My mama, she was my person for me. She didn't want to have to tell me, like, look, get it together, you know. And that's what is true. You have to have that support system for sure. You know, and it's not you listening to what your girlfriends say or nothing like that. It's just realizing when you in love, as women, sometimes we get so caught up, we don't see how it's acting. You super blinded by stuff. So it's for sure, but you gotta have the right support system.
Exactly, the key. Right.
I loved all of that.
Shout out to my mama, because all these years she has the strength that I didn't have when I was going through it.
Shout out to the real mamas.
Right, to the real mamas.
And big sisters out there.
And the good friends.
The real good friends.
Yes.
They're turning to families.
And in your 30s, hopefully you meet them.
You better ask the next question.
Okay. No, I'm with.
We can ride this.
All right, so next question is, how do you handle being in a relationship that lacks a friendship? The friendship aspect.
Oh no, it
should have been asked first.
Yes, it should have been the foundation of any relationship. I had to learn that through trial and error.
Yeah.
But you should be friends first before you even get into a relationship. And that's with even like your friends, your sisterhood. Like you gotta establish that foundation. You guys gotta get to know each other. You guys gotta get to know each other's communication styles, like love languages, everything above all of that.
And go through shit, because you can see somebody when they up and they feeling good, but have you been with them while they was down, when they got into an anger, a tantrum of this, like, and they still made it through? It's like, okay, friendship can see all aspects. They just don't need to be here when you get it.
Right. You need to be able to get bored together. You need to see your partner when they're sick, when they're broke. This quarantine, it brought out a lot of realness in a lot of relationships, because a lot of people have been so busy occupying their time in other ways, either at work or just buying gifts. But now you really have to spend time and really get to know. Do you really know this person that you've been with all these years? Can I really, build something with you? Can I be bored with you? Can I sit in the house for more than 2 hours without having sex with you? Like,
Can we be broke together?
Right.
Can we talk about something? Like, do you have some type of substance? Like, how do your mind think? Like, who you voting for? It's a lot of stuff that goes into a relationship that requires the steps that you would take to consider somebody your friend. So I don't feel like a relationship will be able to last if y'all don't have a friendship at all.
Period. And I think too, having a friendship is important because they get to see the real you as being friends. Because people say what they want to say when they want to get with you to make you sound good.
You're
but
being
being friends,
representative.
you see in and out. And I'll just really quick say, like, I was in a 10-year relationship, and that was like my high school sweetheart and your best friend. But then coming out of that, I seen everything that I didn't want no more. So the next person, it was a whirlwind romance. And it's like, we was engaged within 4 months, had a baby. I'm like, oh my God, please stop. Yeah, it was just a lot because I was able to see, like, no. But it was like, we didn't have enough time to be friends because it went so quick. And then I was able to have the strength to be like, hold up, this is not how I want to spend the rest of my life. Yes, I'm pregnant. Yes, we're engaged. But I'm not about to stay with you for no baby. Like, I don't care if I'm not happy, I'm moving on. And then turning to that, I met my best friend. We was best friends for a year. Then we've been together 5 years and now married. Because that friendship was super important. Because you knew I'm crazy, what you signed up for. You know, so now you really want to be with me? Sign up.
Now.
So my question to y'all is, and not to take over, you know, your questions, but do people know how to have friendship? Like, do they know what all that entails? You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say from a professional perspective, you learn how to be a friend from your home. It all starts from home. It all starts from your home and your environment. Those are our first lessons right there. So you get taught a lot of things like how to communicate with people, how to forgive people, how to talk to people. If you don't have those things, then it's hard for you to be a friend to somebody else. And I feel like that's where a lot of stuff really starts. That's the basis of it, is where it's at, you know. And a lot of people don't really know how that works out. So they get into, you know, they get into a world where, okay, we have fun together, but it's like, dang, like, I really don't get down with what you do outside of when we in the club together. You know what I mean? But you should have known that, you should have seen that coming already. But you're not realizing the patterns that people got that lead up to how they are. It's a reason for how people are. I say that all the time. It's a reason why people act the way they are. It's a reason why they believe the way that they believe, and it's a reason why people move the way that they move, for sure. It all starts from somewhere, but it's definitely nature and birth and nurture, for sure, both of them.
And I think it's up to you to set those boundaries. Like, I can't expect you just to know how to be my friend.
Right.
Being my friend takes something. And then you have friends for certain things. Everybody's not your best friend.
Right.
You might have a friend for this, have a friend for that, but that's where you have to be grown and say what it is you need out of a friendship. Like, you know, when you didn't answer my call, you didn't do this, it made me feel this kind of way, or this and this. Because otherwise, you just assuming is the worst thing. You just assume what this person is like. Oh, I've seen this on Love and Hip Hop. Like, no, this is not the friend I want.
Not what I'm asking for.
Yeah, so I feel like you can be friends, but it's just like, you gotta set your boundaries. Like, I gotta tell people this is how I move. Like, I don't text back right away. You might not hear from me in a day, but that don't mean I'm not fucking with you. I'm like that. I'm sorry. I'm getting better. Take accountability.
Yeah. Ooh. I think as long as you take that accountability, like you can say that about yourself.
Yes.
I'm a terrible fucking texter.
Yes.
Please, like, don't be mad at me. I still like you.
Yes,
I'm
I am. I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't like to be on my phone. Me personally.
Yeah.
I don't like to be on my phone.
Yeah.
I really don't. If I'm not at work trying to pass the time, don't call me, don't text me, because I really don't want to be on this phone.
You gotta have time. My best friend called me one time, I ignored, and then he do a back-to-back. Anybody back-to-back me, I'm answering. I'm like, oh shit, this means something.
Yeah, right.
But that's our code. Otherwise, if I answer, I'm busy.
Yeah, and it's nothing personal. You know, it's like sometimes it's I see you when I see you, or then some other time, you know, over the time, it's just like, okay, I'm hitting you up and we have lengthy conversations. And I think that's well needed in a friendship. That time apart to miss you.
Yes.
And then you also have to understand, we all got lives.
Right.
It's like, so I'm not gonna be at your every whiskey and every time you call me, but when you need me, I might be, you know, I'll be there when you need me, but I don't work for you, you know what I mean? And you don't work for me either.
That's my definition of friendship. I might not be there every time you want me,
Right,
but when you need me,
I'm there.
I'm a show up.
I feel like you can't be anybody's everything.
Yeah, you can.
Like, you should be able to call someone else. I might be your best friend, but it's just like, you can't be anybody's everything. You need your time. Like, there's just times I'm not available.
Especially when you parenting a small child.
Come on, Karen.
Honey.
Yes.
I don't have time. I don't even have time for myself.
Right.
I damn sure don't have time
And
for
you need
you.
that time for your kids.
Shoot me a text if it's an emergency. Otherwise, I'll get back to you in 24 to 48 minutes.
Right.
Period.
But that understanding is essential to the
And my
friendship.
friend.
And that's a friendship.
There is no friendship friendship if there's an argument every time I don't answer a phone call.
Right.
Hey,
Right.
like, I'm
And
here.
that's why I go back to what I was
Right,
saying with the
exactly.
professionals. Some people have like abandonment issues. So
Yes.
they get scared,
Yes.
you know, because they have been neglected by whoever they've been raised with or whatever. So they automatically think if I don't hear from you, something wrong.
Well,
Right.
exactly.
Like,
Like
what's
as
the
friends,
problem?
so
You
we
know?
should have had that conversation already. Why haven't
Yeah,
you know
or
what I'm saying?
understanding.
Yeah, so like that's
Right.
where the argument comes about. Because if you my friend and you haven't, as a person, you know, you haven't identified with that within yourself, and then you know we have this misunderstanding like, okay, you feel this way because of what you went through, but you never expressed that to me.
Right.
So now I feel like you just coming at me. So now it's F you. I don't
Right.
even want the friendship no more.
That's
It's
that
too much
communication.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
why like they may not know. I'm not making excuses. I'm just using like the
Yeah.
whole
Oh no, it's
perspective
a real
to like
thing.
get you to
Yeah.
understand. But like it really is about like being able to communicate and know that you know people that you're dealing with respect those boundaries and understand them too. You know.
It's just key factors that
Right.
it takes to have a friendship nowadays,
Exactly.
and you have to know them
Right.
before you
that leads
take on a
into
friendship.
that leads into a relationship as well.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I think too, I have like a friend that she be wanting to talk every day or like just like, and at first I used to just be like, okay girl, I'm like,
No.
I have a best friend
No,
that I only talk to
it's
like,
a strong
Right.
thing. No,
I have a best friend that I only talk to
Every day.
and we'll talk like, I cannot talk to you in a week and a half, and as soon as we talk, it's like nothing ever was missed.
Right.
But then with this friend, she does like want to always talk or be around, but after we communicate, I understand that was from her childhood, and that's her battling her mental illness. And sometimes she don't even want to just talk to me, she just want me to be there.
But
Be
then
there,
that's not
sit
your
there.
job as well,
Right.
You know, because that's
I'm
putting too much on you as a friend.
Yes.
Because you expect me to be there every weekend when I can, and when you're not there, I'm gonna get mad at you.
But that's where I set that boundary, because it was that bad thing, like, oh, I ain't talking to you 3 days, but it's like, look, I could be there, and now that I know it's like cold, where it's like, oh, you want to visit? It's like, you having a moment. So now, instead of me sitting here all day, I'll be coming for an hour. I got this to do,
Right.
So I set in my boundary, I'm going to give you an hour of my time versus 6 hours it normally be. So
Right.
here's an hour, and now I got to move on to, even if I'm going back to the house to take my shoes off, I just want to watch food. Like, I just want to get by myself.
You have every right to that.
Yeah.
Right.
As a human, like, you know, this is her needs, your needs, or your needs, or whatever you want to do.
Right.
That's mutual respect, man. Exactly.
Okay. So next question. Why are prices qualities so hard to get?
Matter what?
Why are prices qualities so hard to give?
Priceless.
Affection.
Priceless.
Priceless, I'm sorry.
Okay.
As far as affection, time, honesty, communication, so forth and so on. So why is it hard? Do y'all believe why is it hard for a man to give a woman, or vice versa?
Trauma.
I don't think that it's hard initially, but I feel like some of the things that fall in the way of that can be, like we were talking about earlier, vulnerability. So a lot of people battle with that. You know, I personally do in certain aspects. Like vulnerability is, like you say, it's a strength, but a lot of times when you're letting somebody into like who you really are, you feel weak because you don't have any defenses up. And so, you know, that's, you know, you can equate it to boxing. Like when you boxing, you have your guard up, you guarding your face. This is the most important thing to you. You know what I'm saying? So being vulnerable is opening up that space. And if somebody says something or acts in a way that you're not really looking for them to say or act like after you're vulnerable to them, it hurts. That's a hit to the face, you know? So I feel like it's hard because, first of all, sometimes you're being vulnerable to a person that does not deserve your vulnerability.
Or you have been.
Yeah, and you know, after so many times of like getting stung, getting burned, getting hit, getting, you know, you kind of build up that like flinch. It's like you really want to do it, but then it's something that's holding you back, you know. So
Instinct, like
Ex-
something's wrong. Like
yeah,
it's a trigger.
exactly.
It's a trigger.
So, you know, I feel like vulnerability is like an umbrella, and all of those things are under that. Being affectionate. Some men, you'll find like they date one woman, they don't hold her hand. They might, you know, care about her. They don't hold her hand. They don't bring her roses. They don't publicly tell her I love you. When they in front of their boys, they kind of act a little, like, yeah, that's my girl, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But they might go to the next woman, and you might see them. You know what I'm saying? Booed up, like, yeah, that's my gal, you know, but it's levels of comfort, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he has built himself up to a point where he like, oh girl, before I ain't really trust her that much, like she was cool, but she ain't make me feel like I could be open. But this one right here, like she's showing me something different. She making me feel more comfortable. So yeah, I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna be affectionate.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna tell her how I feel. I'm gonna communicate better. Like all of those things just come from a person's comfort level and their vulnerability.
Yeah. Alright.
I don't think what you've been through kind of channels through how you act now. So if somebody comes along and I naturally want to give them affection and time and just as a person, I don't know. It kind of, I feel as though it's like it's a natural thing. Chemistry will lead me up to that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just from what I've been through. Like I've been through situations where I kept myself back from being completely open and honest or affectionate, and it hindered the relationship, and I was all on me. I didn't like the way those results like affected me ever since then. So now I just am open, and I can be, because I kind of make it known. Like I express myself. I let everybody know I've been through this. I didn't like how this happened, so I'm gonna be affectionate. I'm gonna try at least. If it is hard for me, at least I'll communicate it so that we know that we're working on it. You know what I'm saying?
I say it stems a lot from trust issues, because being in, say for instance, your first relationship, go back to high school, whenever you got in your first relationship, you was completely open and naive and there till you got cheated on. And then you get cheated on, and now you remember those are triggers, like you said, when somebody doesn't answer their phone or they didn't grab your hand when you was in this setting. It's like, it starts to make you think like, well, what's going on? You're kind of vulnerable, like your vulnerability is kind of off because you feel like you should be getting this. But as relationships grow, and now we're in our 30s or close to it or wherever, you start to feel like it's something that your vulnerability and to open up to be like showing that affection. Everybody that could stem from hurt, because that was something I dealt with before I got married. Was that being in that senior relationship, I was cheated on multiple times, and then getting out of it, I was able to see like, damn, my patience was kind of shot. So the next person, it was like, okay, I kind of opened up to you a little bit, but I don't want to give you all of that because I know where that pain that brought me since I was completely open. And then my final that I'm in now, that was a struggle for 5 years. That wall was like, she's like, do I need a bigger hammer? Like, what's happening? Like, how can I get down? But my wall was so up, and it's because I feel like if stuff had happened in the past, you have to think of your foundation. If you have a reason that that person don't trust you, you've done this and this, you might genuinely have changed, but the person has to see that, and it will come. And you don't want to give up, because as you're stopping and not being affectionate, I'm the person that doesn't need affection. I'm better at it. So I can speak from that side. I really feel like I look at you and be like, damn, I really want to hug you, I really want to kiss you, I really want to do this, but it's like it's something that holds me back. So then when I do, it's kind of fear, honestly, because then when I do try something or I do it, be like, and then you question me like, oh, so you, and I'm like, okay, forget it.
You know,
I just tried, call me out, like it's fear. For me, it's fear, because it's like, I know I can be such an affectionate person and be there, but I'm just like, what's the repercussion? Like, I get all vulnerable and you gonna try some shit. Like, I don't need you to try it, but you gotta let that down, because it's like, you're gonna be stuck. If you don't knock that wall down, that first person messed it up, and they're not thinking about you, they want to the next person. So if you find somebody you really love and you're happy, you gotta knock that shit down, because they deserve it. They gonna get the better you.
And I just want to say, I think most importantly, we have to understand, for one, everybody, like Lala said, we all have love languages. Everybody got love languages, and we all speak them differently. And sometimes when you're in the honeymoon phase, you're doing everything you can to make sure that person is okay. And so you speak in all the love languages, but once that honeymoon phase is passed, you know, your partner don't know what it takes to keep you happy, or you don't know what it takes to keep your partner happy, and that's really because y'all not on the same terms when it comes to that. And when we speak in a heterosexual relationship specifically, men and women are very different when it comes to a lot of things. So a lot of stuff that women, you know, will see that we want, we have these ideas of how we want a man to behave, that may not be the way that they speak or show their love. They may just only know how to do things a certain way. So it's really about just learning your partner and learning how they speak their love language. Like she said, she's not really an affectionate person and stuff like that, but me being her friend over the past 10 to 15 years, I've seen her become more affectionate in her relationship because that's the way her partner speaks, you know, their love language. So I think that's really very, very important. People don't realize how important that is, you know, for people you to know not only what you take for you to be happy, your own love language, but knowing who you're dealing with too. Because I feel like that's important to make a relationship succeed for sure.
That's what you want to do, is not show up for that person how they need you to show up for them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's going to be a check in the book that they're going to remember.
Exactly.
Remember last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because right now my partner's love language is gifts and mine is quality time. So it's like we have that battle, you know, kind of where it's like, okay, well I'm buying you everything and I'm giving you everything, but I'm like, I'd rather just have you here versus you spending money, you know, but that's how they speak, their love language. So I have to learn how to adapt with that, you know, just so I can make sure they're equally as happy as I am too. So.
Okay. Even though we only have 2 parents on the panel, the question is, can you co-parent effectively without closure?
Without closure from the BM?
Yes, from the child to the parent. Can you co-parent?
Not effectively. Not effectively, no.
Explain.
Well, my parents. My mom, when she got pregnant with me, my father left. And then shortly after she gave birth to me, he got locked up. And he didn't really show up until later when I turned like 19. Even to this day, you know, it kind of still affects me that they don't get along. Like, he'll come around or want to be around. And it's tough because as soon as they're in a room together, I wasn't raised seeing them together. I really didn't even know him. So it's tough seeing them together interact and they just are arguing, or the energy is so much that I just have to dub myself down to even be there. It's like, it's too much, but it's not effective for anyone, not even for them, because they were once friends, you know what I'm saying? That relationship was there. That's how they created me. So it's not effective for them, for me, and as much as I try to communicate it to them, they only have a certain level of understanding because they weren't even raised right. Their parents, it's a generational thing. Their parents weren't there for them. They didn't see it. They didn't show up. So now me trying to tell them, like, okay, I know what you went through together was bad to each other, and you haven't healed, and y'all can't get along, but at least try to have some type of common ground so that I can be okay with the both of you. And I want a relationship with the both of you. So just some effort there would be more than anything to me. But is it effective that they're around and not getting along? No.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because it made me think like that too. I don't think it's effective, and I think too, it's your duty as a parent that no matter what happened in your childhood or what you saw around, that you make that change right then. Because I'll say for me in my childhood, my parents divorced when I was 3. And my dad is just, I love him. We have a relationship, but like he was the problem. And so my mom never kept it disrespectful. She never talked about him in front of me. And mind you, that was since we were 3, up until I'm 32. And she never talked mess about him. She encouraged me, talk to him, he's doing this, talk. And so when I was put in that position, no matter what my BB did, it's like we have this responsibility that we created and we was in a good space. So no matter how much you irritate my soul, I'm going to put on a good face for our kid, and we got to figure it out because that's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable as a kid to be sitting there when parents are arguing because you don't want to choose sides and you don't want to make a parent feel a certain way. So I had my stepdad who never even married my mom, but he was a stepdad that stepped in when I was 3. Up until right now, he's my sister's dad. And they showed me what it meant. So like, okay, he got along with my dad, he was with my mom, so now moving forward in this relationship with my ex, it's like, it's what it is. It's like, you're going to have that respect for my relationship. I'm going to respect you. I'm never going to talk down on you to your kid. And if we have an issue, let's talk to the side. We're not going to argue because it goes in their head. I don't forget arguments that my dad's had at 5 years old because it was so hard and traumatizing. So I think as a parent, your responsibility is to shield your kid and keep that innocence because you don't want them making comments, talking smack about each parent, because that's not what they're here for. They didn't ask to be here.
Right.
So you literally got to do what you got to do. I think you got to put that to the side and work it out because the kid needs it.
I have something to add to that. So I do agree with what you guys are saying. However, I also think the question is, do you need closure? I'm not ever going to get closure from my child's father, but I don't need it either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at the end of the can you effectively co-parent
effectively
without closure? Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we can. Because I don't need that from you in order to co-parent with you because I'm co-parenting. I'm not depending on me and you's relationship. That means that I want something from you.
Come on.
I don't want anything from you.
Right.
This is what I want. I'm thinking about it. I want you to be a father to your child, right? So if I'm putting closure, which is something that happened between two adults and our personal relationship, into another relationship that is just you being a father and me being a mother to our child, those are two separate things. They're very closely related, but it's not the same thing. I have to look at you with two lenses now because you are on one hand an ex, ex-boyfriend, ex-whatever, but you're also a father. So if I'm looking at you from the lens of being a father and I have problems with the things that you're doing as a dad, then no, I can't effectively co-parent with you because you're not being a good father. If I'm mad at you about some shit because you got this girl pregnant and you was talking to this girl and you cheated on me and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, I'm carrying emotions from a situation that don't have nothing to do with your kid.
Right.
It don't.
Right.
So I feel like when two people are able to separate the things that happened in their relationship that caused you pain, but the thing and the things that are happening in your parenting relationship, like you just have to separate them. It's hard. It's not something that's feasible. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put this over here and put that over there. But I'm saying, like, once you get to the mindset of nothing it is that you're doing in your personal life, who you mess with, who you talk to, how you feel about me, all of those things are bullshit. At the end of the day, are you a father? Are you here physically? You spending time? You caring? You there financially? Because that's important too. Are you doing the things that you need to do as the other parent, whether it's the father or the mother? You doing that good? Cool. I'll go get my closure from somewhere else. Talk to my therapist, my friends, sip a little Hennessy and move the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you got to do, and that's why it's so much problem between baby mamas and baby daddies. It's problems between me and mine, but guess what? At the end of the day.
See, but the good thing is you're mature. There's some people that's not mature that you can feel that way because the kid is the higher person, but they just can't get over that you don't want them no more, that this isn't here no more, and they have to. But there's gonna be circumstances. Not everything gonna be a co-parenting. There's gonna be somebody that can't get over it, and you gotta do your own steps to move on from that. Maybe y'all can't co-parent. Maybe you need to go through the grandma, or maybe you need to do this. But it's like you have to keep your sanity. And if you need closure, I don't need closure. I'm good. Like,
Not my responsibility.
That was it. That was me the beginning of last year. Honestly, my pregnancy and everything I went through was probably like the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching thing I've ever experienced in my life. I ain't never been that heartbroken in my life. And it wasn't because I loved them so much. It's just a level of, betrayal, disrespect, and, it's just you going through all these hormonal changes. Your body is changing and you ain't even really asked for that, from a person. And and it's deep, so we're not gonna go all the way there. Let's go. Okay.
Oh, that's the point of the talk. If you willing to share it, share it. This is a judgment-free zone. Hey, your baby daddy ain't my your baby daddy ain't my friend.
You sure ain't. I sure hope you not. All right.
Nobody knows.
But you just go through so much emotional trauma, and I do understand, and I can't just say baby mothers, because there's baby fathers out there that are single fathers as well, and they done been through some emotional trauma, and their child's mother has done some things to them that, hurt them to the core as well. So I'll just say, as a parent, when you have gone through emotional suffering from the other person that you brought a child into this life with, some people that don't have the mental capacity in order to process that, break it down, and take that time to heal and think about it and say, you know what the evil things that you've done to me, it's not about me. It's about you. And it took me like joining the church. Not everybody's religious, but I am. It took me joining the church, talking to God, praying fervently. I mean, like in there with my bare feet on the ground, hands to the sky, tears rolling down my eyes, and not praying for my own situation, but praying for him to just change and be a better person.
Ooh, come on.
Yes.
Ooh, that's gross.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hurt you?
Yeah. Praying for him every week in and week out, just to be able to have that mental understanding, like it's bigger than us, boo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was raised with both of my parents were single parents, and they both raised me individually, but I still got like both halves. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what it's like to not have a father.
Right.
I don't know what it's like to not have a mother. Both of my parents showed the fuck up.
Right.
So at least I feel like I owe that to my daughter. I'm not responsible for him now, but when I was hurting and I was bitter, I felt like you owe my child that. You had your daddy, be a daddy to mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's things that you have to cut ties with, and it's things that you have to let go, and you have to say, you can't be consumed by things that you don't have control over.
Right.
And so by me going and talking to God and saying like, you know, Lord, I just pray that you make this man more mature. I pray that you open his eyes to see the bigger picture. I pray that you know, all the things that he didn't see or receive from the fatherhood, you know, before him. I pray that, you know, you allow him to feel and experience those things so that he can give it to my daughter.
Right.
You know? And so going back to, you know, an immature parent, they are not processing that information. And so it's like, yeah, you're mad at them because they lashing out at you and they're doing things to make your life miserable. But baby, it's not really about you. You could have been anybody. You could have got any girl pregnant or any guy could have got, not literally, you know what I'm saying? It could have been anybody on this earth, but it was them. And so you have to allow that person to process their trauma, and once they process their own trauma, they can treat you better. Just as a person, as a parent of a kid. You know what I'm saying? I ain't looking for no motherfucking closure, but she gonna be a daddy. And that's it. And if you not, we out anyway. We good.
And I think too, that's your mental is most important. Your mental, not what they going through, not what this. And how I said it was a whirlwind romance. At 4 months, my baby was 4 months. And we was engaged, planning the wedding. I gave the ring back and say, I can't do this anymore. Because I realized having a kid that I love this kid more than I love you. And I know that's hard to say, but it's like, look, his life is more important than your life and the shit you're going through. And I can't have my son around this. So I'm going to exit me and him, and this is when I'm going to go forward. So your mental is more important than any other drama going on, because you can't be there for your kid if you're not there for yourself. So once I remove myself and I put boundaries up, like, I can't deal with you, your crazy mama, your this, your that. I'm just gonna do this. Everything looked up for me. And now everybody knew I had a boundary. Like, oh, let me not. Yeah, I do have a boundary. It's about parenting. I don't want to hear shit about our relationship, nothing else, because it's not there no more. So if you said that and they still can't do that, don't worry about it. Do your mental. Keep your mental. Your mental health is important. So important.
And I wanna jump in on that, because I'm not a parent, but I do have a lot of experience with working with families, children, everything like that. Mental health starts when a woman is pregnant. Because when I do my assessments on children, I have to find out if the mom went through any type of stressors, if they were homeless, if they were making sure they were getting their prenatal care, because that's how soon it starts developing. And then when the baby here, you have to pay attention to the different environments that they're exposed to. Was you getting into fights with the dad? Was you alone? Was it any changes? Was the baby and the dad was in the life even for a couple of months? You know, stuff like that. That all creates a pattern into, like I said, how we act. So this is how important it is. So yeah, if you do have issues where you can't, or one of the other parent can't get over, it's going to be hard to co-parent effectively, not between you two, but because the child is going to be affected. Specifically, that's who's really going to have the problem, because that's who you guys, that's the common denominator between both of you guys. So if it's not something that you guys can work out or whatever the case is, then yeah, you have to put your boots on it. And I applaud both of you guys for figuring that out. You know, as women and mothers, you know, sometimes it's hard, you know, as a professional to try to explain this to people sometimes where it's like, you know, your kid is what's more important. That's what's really suffering behind all this shit. So, yeah, it starts very early. So that's just an awareness for men and women, you know, whether or not situations happen when people get pregnant is very important for the sake of your child. That while your baby is baking in that mother's stomach, that mental health starts right then and there.
I agree. Like, speaking from the child perspective, I think I was affected as early as like 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe even earlier than that. But that's like my earliest, like, memory. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly can think back to feeling or having the questions in my head, like, am I just less than enough for my mother? Because she's so angry with my father. But I came from him. Like, I'm half of him, I'm half of you. Y'all love each other so much enough to create me. How is it possible that y'all can't get along enough to just be in the same room with one another? Like, if I bring him up, nobody's eating dinner tonight. Like, I'm going to sleep hungry. You know, like that type of anger, that type of hatred between them two over the years, the way it festers, and then looking at it all as an adult now, and they still can't get along. It causes trauma, or at least the wrong type of actions to come out of my personality in other relationships. It shows up everywhere else.
Exactly.
And then it's my own struggle to deal with as a person, you know, because I have to now see, how am I going to not be my parents as far as that, you know?
That's really what it is.
I think you learn by example, you know what I'm trying to learn by observing things.
Because when you become a mom, you hit at that door. Do I go this way, what I know, or do I want to change the cycle? And you want to change that cycle if it's not a good one.
It's hard, and I'm working right now. I'm 30, 33, 34 and it takes so much work to go the different direction of which you've been exposed to. That's very important, what kids are exposed to. I've been exposed to so much trauma, so much abuse that I thought it was normal. So when you grow up and you get into these relationships, you think arguing, verbal abuse, domestic abuse is natural when it's not. So be very careful what you expose your children to, and even before they're born. It's so important, because when your child is an adult, now they're here struggling with so many mental and emotional issues, and they don't know how to go about solving that because your parents didn't do it, their parents didn't do it. So how the hell, and that's why Black people shun therapy, because your parents didn't do it and talk about it so badly, then why would you do it? So I strongly agree with what you expose your child to. And personally, I'm very afraid to have children right now, because a lot of people have shown me, whether they've been together or they're separate, like, you're exposing your children to so much, and that the child is being affected so much you don't know. They upstairs, but they can hear you. They can feel the energy in that house if you're arguing with your loved one or whomever you're with. They feel that. So because they're not physically there, don't assume that they, aren't being affected by it, because they are.
So
I think parents have a problem of the out of sight, out of mind type of technique. If they put the children away into the room, then it's not affecting them. But that is far from the truth. Like you said, I felt everything, even if I wasn't fully aware of every single thing that happened, I still could feel it. Like, you looking at my father a certain kind of way, or you looking at me a certain kind of way, or if I say something the wrong way, then, we're not having a good day anymore. So it affects people differently.
And
but
we don't realize how we as a culture, as we specifically as a culture, that we have a lot of people who suffer from PTSD. Because it's normalized to hear guns and bullets and be exposed to these fighting and domestic violence and these drugs and stuff like that. You don't realize how that creates a fear when you get older, where you are doing things or behaving in a way you don't really understand, or create other disorders like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. Like, we have a whole list of stuff that we are exposed to at an early age that we don't even know, because, like she said, it's a stigma with us to go get that help, but we don't have many people to talk to, which is why I got into the profession specifically, because because I want to be able to relate to people and have people comfortable to know, you know, you got somebody that understands you. I'm from the hood and I'm also, you know, a professional too.
Yeah.
So I understand. I'm not just telling you this shit just because I didn't went to a school at X, Y, and Z. I know this from my own personal experience. So.
Right. Personal experience has taught me everything.
Everything,
I've never learned
sure.
anything in school. I can put that on everything I learned.
Everything. Everything. That's
Personal
for sure.
experience got me here.
Nah, man, no. It made me feel bad. I feel good and feel bad, but nah, I feel bad because that's my best friend. Raise your hand, best friend.
Hi.
That's my best friend.
And his personal counselor.
And my personal, but it's been times that she's told me, Slack, you are a great father. I love that. But then she's also said, what you and your daughter mom go through makes me not want to have a kid. I don't want to be that. Because of you, I don't want to have a kid. Like that kind of makes me feel like.
It's the truth though.
But no. But I understand it, and life does happen. Like with your parents. Me and my daughter's mom was his best friend. To where when I was growing up, I would see dudes with their baby mom. I'm like, did you ever love her? Like, I've never seen y'all cool. With y'all, I heard stories. Like it became a myth. I heard stories of y'all being cool. Now I can't even imagine y'all saying hi. You know what I'm saying? So it's just life happens. For me now, if I was to have another child, I wouldn't put the family. I want the family. I want one woman, one child. I want that. But now, I don't want to say my daughter's a trial, but she showed me what I want now. So if it doesn't work out in a relationship with me and the next woman I have a child with, I at least will get to know you enough to know that you'll be a good mother. You know what I'm saying? So that's just from my point of view. But yeah, like, whew.
And to be fair, I said that because my parents are still together. And I come from a home where my family, my mom and dad are blended. I'm their only child together, but my mom and dad took on each other's children as where there was no stepbrother, stepsister. And I also have foster brothers and sisters who are my brothers and sisters too. Yeah. So like all I know is family, but I was blinded thinking that the world is all rainbows and butterflies. So when I get out there and I get into these relationships and I see like, no. You know, you messing with somebody that don't even know what it's like to be in you know, it's different, you know, so like I had to be more self-aware and just realize you can't just be out here just making babies and creating humans. You gotta make sure you're doing it with the right person, you know?
Never know what they traumas or
They raised from survival and whatever it is.